Ukrainian drones are attacking a strategic airfield in Russia's Murmansk region. Yes, the one that lies beyond the Arctic Circle. That's some 2,000 kilometers away from Ukraine. Governor Chibis reported that Murmansk and Kibany airports are temporarily not receiving or dispatching flights due to a drone threat in the Murmansk region. Murmansk region of Russia has been under drone attack for the fourth day in a row. Another threat of drone attack was reported by the head of the region, Andrei Chibis. The airports of Murmansk and Apatity have suspended operations for reasons of safety for civilian aircraft. Eyewitnesses have published a video of a drone flying near the closed military settlement of Vysoky. By the way, the Olenia air base, from which bombers attacking Ukraine take off, is also located there. As we said, the distance from Murmansk to the border with Ukraine is about 2,000 kilometers. This was the decisive factor for the new location of Russian long-range aviation. Ukrainian drones keep improving all the time, though.
Сбили, блядь, красавцы, блядь! Нахуй!
As a result of a drone attack on the Russian airfield Savasleika on August 16th, Ukrainian defense forces destroyed MiG-31K-I aircraft, 2 Il-76 aircraft, and damaged about 5 aircraft, possibly also MiG-31K-I. This is reported by Suspilne with reference to its own sources in HUR. Satellite images show that Russian forces are constructing new defenses in the sea to protect the Crimean Bridge. We thought Russia is on the offensive while conducting its special military operation. But Putin found a new war strategy that no one invented so far. While you are losing 500,000 men, you are also losing territory in the process. Clown. Huge fire in Novorossiysk on the Black Sea coast in Russian Krasnodar Krai. Two weeks into the Ukrainian army's foray into the Kursk region, officials in Moscow are over the initial shock and are now trying to spin the ongoing fighting on Russian territory as yet another new normal. Sources close to the Putin administration and the government told Meduza. All of the officials Meduza spoke to believed the fighting in the Kursk region could continue for several months. However, the authorities are loath to cancel the upcoming gubernatorial elections. Sources also said that Kremlin propagandists are priming public opinion to normalize sending conscripts into embattled border areas, all while officials weigh the pros and cons of another round of mobilization. When the Ukrainian armed forces began an incursion into Russia's Kursk region on August 6th, Russian elites were shocked. Two sources close to the Putin administration and another source close to top government officials told Meduza. 2 weeks on, however, the shock has worn off, and they've begun to adapt. At first, it wasn't clear what forces had crossed the border and for how long. Now there's an understanding, and this is always easier. Ukrainian forces are far from the regional centers, but their very entry into Russian territory and seizing control of villages is a new and very unpleasant event, explained a source close to the Kremlin. One source close to the Putin administration pointed to a recent Kremlin-commissioned poll, which showed that against the backdrop of the incursion, the share of Russians who believe an anxious mood is predominant in their social circles shot up 6 points to 45%. Officials in the Putin administration considered this figure quite high and hope it will come down quickly. During a shock, and this was certainly a shock, there are always leaps in the polls. Then people get used to it and everything settles down. What happened during the Prigozhin rebellion, the mobilization, and the start of the war? One source said cynically. Although he added that, if the war stopped, everyone would feel better. In order for things to settle down more quickly, the Kremlin is enlisting its propagandists to try and help Russians adapt to this new reality. They're also recycling the term new normal, which Kremlin propagandists used during the global pandemic and at the very start of the full-scale war. This terminology is necessary so that people think of what's happening not as a deviation, but as a new norm, albeit a temporary one. This should be calming, explained a spin doctor who works with the Putin administration's domestic policy bloc. As conceived by the Kremlin, the key elements of this new reality are as follows. The enemy really did penetrate Russian territory. Inevitable defeat awaits them, but returning territory takes time, and Russians will need to wait. During this time, residents are urged to channel the negativity and shock in a positive direction, namely, to help collect aid for the Kursk region. The Putin administration has already recommended that regional governments take up collections as well. It's not, you need to collect this much money or send this many groceries. Just organize a collection and suggest people participate. In some regions, they suggested transferring one day's earnings. This is voluntary compulsory. It's understood that if the leadership says so, public sector employees will transfer money. But in my region, everything is purely voluntary, a high-ranking regional official told Medusa, on condition of anonymity. According to him and two officials from other regions, some state corporations have also organized similar collection drives. As for the upcoming gubernatorial elections in the Kursk region, where Alexei Smirnov is currently acting governor, early voting is set to begin on August 28th, and the main voting day will take place in early September. Earlier, Verstka reported that the authorities had debated canceling the vote and replacing Smirnov with another hand-picked candidate. However, this wasn't corroborated by Medusa's sources close to the Putin administration. You never know what rumors are spreading in the region. Canceling would increase panic. It would mean the entire region is under threat, said one source close to the Kremlin. In his words, refraining from electing a new governor could give locals the impression that the region has already been surrendered. This same source also insisted there are no threats to voting, claiming, in Donbass, elections and referendums took place in conditions of war and nothing happened. That said, as Verstka also reported, the municipal elections in the region could actually be canceled. This is just a targeted cancellation, it's not scary, Medusa's source claimed.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.